Hello and a warm welcome back to the WenDirkCast with your hosts, me, Jimbo, and my good friend, Calvinator. We're going to be discussing latest MFL updates, transfers, developments, and a lot more that has gone on over the last 7 days or so. One important note before we get straight into things and kick off this episode: none of what we chat about on here is financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of Metaverse Football. Calva, how you doing? You all right?
Yes, well, highs and lows in terms of MFL.
In real life, you okay though?
In real life, I'm definitely okay.
Oh, that's good then.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's just a game, right? What's it quote? Like, football is the most important, non-important thing in life.
I can back that. Yeah, I can support that.
I think that's the... Well, in Dutch it sounds better. Drive, I think. But anyway, it's good to be recording again. Good to make... some nice MFL content and talk about it. The beautiful game, we can also say.
The beautiful game.
But MFL is the beautiful game.
Of course,
definitely a beautiful game. Yes. So, as you probably guessed from our announcement, there's no guests, but I think next week we'll definitely have some guests. We're working behind the scenes on that.
Yeah, working behind the scenes. Next week I feel like there's a very high chance we get a guest.
A very high chance, indeed.
Which
but now
exciting.
It's just... two of us, and we're going to talk about the mid-season transfer window, which is very close when you're listening to this in 2 days' time. And we thought, let's just talk about that, some strategies, because also with season 1, things are different. There's play progression, there's promotion, relegation, all those things might impact it. Mm-hmm. Plus, for new users, I'm going to shout out so many names again later. For them... I think it's also quite important, this window. So enough to talk about?
100%, yeah.
Yeah, before we dive in, I guess we have to talk about all the streams. So maybe you can tell us about past streams and upcoming streams.
Past stream, it was Wednesday. Oh, hang on, I need to get my days right here. Wednesday this week?
It was Wednesday.
It was Wednesday this week. It was about 3 hours. It was great. We went from the Ice Division all the way up to Diamond Division, watching... Magos de Madrid take on and defeat Big Wolves, Tango, which was very good. It was great. There's a lot of people tuned in right from the start, right until the end. I want to say just a big shout out to Dolo Dude and Greco ISU, who were the 2 new subs of the stream, which is great. Really appreciate that. Nice. So that was on Wednesday, and then I guess we'll transition to this week because we are now on Monday when you listen to this. Monday evening, we'll be doing a stream, the WenDirkby stream. The WenDirkby has returned. The Wents and Wyverns versus the Corsair Cove. I believe it will be 2nd versus 5th. Well, is that what it will be? Something along those lines.
I've been dropping. I had like a very, as you would say, stinker against one of the bottom teams. That was really bad. So they are underperforming, but maybe... against Wensum, this is when they find their momentum.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
Previous games and all that sort of stuff goes out the window when it comes to derbies. It means something more for the players. Obviously, that's not sort of something built into the engine, but for us, emotionally, that's what matters. So we'll be live streaming that game. I think we've said we're going to do like the full 90, aren't we? The full 2D experience.
Full 2D.
Maybe on 1.25 speed. Probably about half an hour. So if you do come in and the game has already finished, don't spoil it and tell us what the result is. We want that emotion for us. But we'll be streaming then. And as well as that, Wednesday the 27th, you all know it by now, next pack drop. So as always, 1 hour before the pack drop opens, and you can go grab themselves some rare, standard, common packs, kickoff, We'll be hosting the pack drop as always, with a bit of entertainment, bit of fun. And who doesn't want to, who does want to have the opportunity to try and win some things? Everyone does, right?
Exactly. Another quiz, more hype. Will be fun, and a lot of new users. So I'm curious if they also tune in, how that will be if they join the drop, talking to them. So it will be really fun. Yeah. So 2 streams. Looking forward to that. And a lot will be going on. And I like that, like you had the stream with like tons of matches, and then we also do again this full match experience. See how that goes and what people like. a bit more like live commentating a whole match or the summaries kind of.
Yeah.
So let's see how that goes. And let's start with our moments of the week, the updates. So any particular moments you had?
I'm gonna do a little shout out here because some of you may or may not know that I actually featured as a guest on another podcast this week.
Tell us about that. I'm curious also. I didn't listen to it yet. I will probably.
So SR Monkey, one of the new users who hosts the So Rare Ramble podcast, is now sort of doing a mini-series of MFL Ramble. And last week, or 2 weeks ago, we had on Matt, who obviously is probably the best first guest to have onto any podcast about MFL because you're going to get everything from him. And he messaged me over the weekend and said, do you fancy coming on the podcast and do almost like a little bit of a Q&A session? I was named an MFL expert, which put me under a lot of pressure I felt internally, but it was really great. So it was him and Hatton. Hatton's also relatively new to MFL as well, a bit longer than David or SR Monkey. But it's really great to sort of be in the guest seat and be asked like how I got into MFL rather than we always ask other people it. So I want to shout out to the So Rare /MFL Ramble podcast. They've also got a really cool little Discord community, which is so rare, but they've also got like quite a big MFL subsection within that's got a lot of activity. So I'm sort of in there, have a little chat with some of them, offering them some advice and just answering questions and that sort of stuff. But it's really, really great, and I loved it on there. So if you've not listened to it, I'll put some links to it down below. Definitely worth checking out. So that was my moment of the week because I loved it. That was really, really fun.
Nice.
I said we'll have to get get them back on the pod over this side as well.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, to have either like one of them or both as our monkey.
There's like a couple of them. So David like runs it, but there's a different like a team, and then sometimes they jump in whenever who's free during the week. Your hair did get a mention though as well, I believe. So,
good.
You were there in spirit with me. We talked about you and your clubs a bit.
One of the memes, the running gags.
Yeah.
Great. I love this moment of the week. I didn't have. Well, I have my whole diamond thing, but more about it later. But I think I just before this episode said like for some reason I keep losing so many games, but it's a bit ironic because the team that previously I was doing well for the other teams and this team was very bad, and now the tables turned apparently, and this Caviares de Sintra, my bronze team, is suddenly second in like a promotion spot while they were previously like finishing 8, 9, 10, things like that. So I don't know what's going on, but it seems like the opposite world to me. So, well, there's always some good news. The good thing with having so many teams, there's always one team that does well. There's always some glory. And also my ice team, but that's super stacked. That's just I stacked it to get it promoted and get it up quickly. I want to have them a bit higher up in an iron bronze.
Yeah.
Because it's my local team, right? So that's my plan with them.
Yeah, the Poznan team, right?
The Poznan team, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So for my moment, it's just I'm a bit lost, and apparently the teams that did well are doing bad. But later about Magos. Magos is doing pretty well. So more about that in our Diamond update, and I'm happy with that. Let's move on to Dev updates. So about the engine, I know you have something to share about it, but it says, thanks to your feedback, we released a fix that addressed the key issue where own goals could be scored under certain situations. And they also noticed a lot of goals from set pieces, of course, what they're going to look at. So from free kicks, indirect free kicks, there were loads of goals. Also from long passes, those they want to reduce a little bit for Season 2. Also the marking system, sometimes you really see attackers are unmarked, center backs are like running off, leaving attackers, so they're also working on that. Some off-ball ball movement in general, minimalizing the central players drift wide. So this, does happen quite a bit. And also goalkeepers that you're gonna punch it. Often it's always a catch, so it would be fun if for realism that goalkeepers are also punching the ball. Maybe drop it, some mistakes of goalies that would make it realistic. So let's see how that goes. Club relegation, big thing. So clubs have been relegated now that didn't register for the season.
Yeah.
So this is a huge moment. Actually, I did not hear any like protest or angry people.
No.
Right? No. So far so good.
Yeah.
Their clubs are just in a different division, and you might want to change your prices if you're listening, because they're not very relevant anymore. So that has been done. Also about player progression. Team keeps monitoring this. So far, so good. Everything's running as expected. And a new filter has been added by Yax that you can now see last 24 hours. That's really
great,
cool. Yeah, to
Yeah.
see what's going to happen. And it's still done manually. So in general, you have people who say when trading, and it changes every day. But it's still it's still done manually to monitor, verify stuff. But automation will be upon us eventually.
Yeah.
And tiny bit about smart contracts. Too difficult for me, but it's getting more automated, which is good.
Yeah. I think that was basically saying that when progression changes, sometimes third party like websites don't see that update. They have to do it manually, or they don't get the update, and that's basically what it's helping enable. There you go.
Yeah.
That was how
of course.
Anyway.
I think everyone also with their personal administration. I don't know if you have I know you are good with Excel and
I've not got anything for progression for spreadsheet.
Yeah, because now all your players change. Their overall changes, their age changes. Everything is now dynamic. So your whole personal database or those might need to be updated. But I think you want to share about set pieces.
Yeah, just one quick thing before set piece. I want to say just shout out to all the guys who do all the building and stuff like Alexis and Ali, etc. Who, when progression when progression started, especially NFL Player Info and Alexis's assistant, you go on Ali's NFL Player Info and it updates like all the progression, everything. That's all there. Maybe thought there might have been a couple of day delay while it gets upgraded, that sort of thing. No, it just straight away acknowledges all the progression, which is great. So you don't have to worry about it being out of date. But what I did want to have a little ramble on. Apologies if I sound a bit ill. It's because I am. So if I sound like I'm constantly running 100 meters and you can hear my breath, I do apologize. No, I don't. I'll try and keep this short and sweet. But I think I want to take a key bit on that dev updates about the reducing the number of goals from indirect free kicks and long passes, specifically the set piece bit. I think a lot of us, quite a few of us have been vocal about how there seems to be rather a high percentage than what we'd expect for when it comes to set pieces or set piece goals within MFL. So obviously set pieces including, predominantly corners and free kicks, but you can include penalties in there as well, and technically throw-ins, but we don't really see much of that within MFL, like a throw-in leading to a goal or something like that. But I was doing a little bit of digging into some data. I used a spreadsheet in this example, and I went through two of my clubs. Two of my only two clubs I've got. Went their last 10 competitive games and calculated how many goals there were, how many goals were set pieces. And basically there was, without penalties, there were 35% of the goals were set pieces. So nearly 1 in 3 goals was a set piece, or just over. To put that in comparison to Premier League, last year Premier League averaged about 19-20. Seems to be the 19 to 21% is the Premier League one. So we're getting about 15% more set pieces. And I think how it's affected me is that if I see a direct free kick, I'm a little bit angry, because if I see an indirect free kick, you just know there's a higher chance of you scoring. So it changes how you watch it a bit. But also on the contrary to that, we messaged Quinton and Yax and we're going to fix it for next season. So it's going to get fixed. And obviously the engine has so many games that are played within it. There's obviously going to be these sort of events. But I think set pieces right now, I'm not going to say broken. It's definitely not like broken where you can force a meta and you can destroy everyone with this. But maybe if you can try and get as many like indirect free kicks as you can, if that's through, or corners, could that be through less crossing, even though crossing's quite good this season, through, less dribbling, playing controlled, so your player goes all the way down to the byline, stops for about a couple seconds, then goes out for a corner, all that sort of thing. Or do you put dribbling up so that if a player is aggressive or has pressing on, you get more free kicks? I don't know. I'm rambling at this point, but I wanted to say
it is.
I wanted to say that just it does feel that set pieces are slightly OP this season. I think that's for some people
But there's no exploits that
there's
people can
nothing
exploit it.
There's no exploit unless there maybe is, and none of us have figured it out. But when you partner that with goalkeepers being a bit statue-like at times, then it's not a great combination.
Well, I do notice it with like other things. Like I have in bronze this right mid Wada from Nigeria, and I think he has like 88 passing. He's like a very super high passing. The rest a bit lower, but he already has like 12 assists because he's also the indirect free kick taker.
Yeah,
I think that's why he has like 12 assists, because he has super high passing, a lot of indirect free kicks, and he can find heads, let's say, easily in the box probably.
Yeah.
So I guess you can maybe see that in those stats also. But good they're fixing it. Should be a bit balanced, and I think people like to see more open play. On the stream, we also notice all those corners will be nicer, that there are more crosses. Sometimes they even hesitate. They come into the box from the side. They wait, like, please put this ball out for a corner defender. And then it goes out. Like, that's almost what it seems. Like, instead of just crossing it.
I think we want it to be less predictable, as in you can see how the goal is going to be scored, and you want it to be something unique and different. Not all the time, but some of the time. Not, this is going to be a goal from an indirect free kick, or my player goes to the bar and, like you said, hangs around for a bit. It either goes for a corner or they dribble it straight through. There's none of this, or if it comes back, it gets recycled. It all feels like one flow of attack. It never sort of like resets and goes again. But that's the part of it being in development. So we will
work
have
in
to
progress.
We have to all play it with a pinch of salt, knowing that it's not going to be perfect, but we all love it regardless. So that's the main thing.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's I also treat it like work in progress. You see some odd things. It's not totally football realistic.
Sometimes it goes for you. Sometimes it's for you. Sometimes it's against you, and it usually bounces. It's a bit like VAR. Yeah. Sometimes it's in your favor. Sometimes it's not.
We all play with the same engine, same rules. So you just gotta see it in that
exactly.
light. Okay, then Diamond update. So, which is now a bit more interesting because I'm the coach of one of the teams.
Yep.
So, well, maybe you should talk about the table, what you see, and then maybe ask me about my how it went.
So the table, BFC Barcelona, Meta Mercenaries, both joint top. BFC Barcelona currently on top because they have a goal difference of 7 better than Meta Mercenaries. Reverse the table, Fancy Gaffers SV Berlin, one that maybe we did pip a little bit to be in and around it area sort of thing. They're currently sitting bottom with 5, then you've got 7, 9 and 11, so it's almost got like a little bottom 3 there as such. And then obviously Calva, your team, actually no, before we get out to your team, a bit of a fall from grace as Basil topped last week, and now he's dropped all the way down to 7th. I think, if my calculations are correct, he's only gained 3 points during the week. I think he's on 10 points, now he's on 13 points. So, that's a little bit of a fall from grace. Maybe he'd overperformed in those first couple of games, and now he'd come down a bit. But obviously, Calva, your team with the Magos de Madrid, sitting slap bang in the middle in 6th position. I think, and you're going to speak about it in a short second, I think that's very respectable, and you should be proud of where you've currently got, and that's a very nice position for you right now.
I'm definitely very happy and proud with where I am right now. There were a couple of results where could have, like, some went my way, some went the other way, so I think it's pretty, I deserve to be in that spot. It's nice that I'm now higher than Basel with like 1 point after that season opener, so it feels like I kind of redeemed myself, and now we're above him, so we proved to be a bit better than Basel. And what I think, the main highlight for me is that I've been very competitive against the teams above me, and that I've beat, like, so Joe B, OM Legends is a 4th. I beat them 2-1. Then Club Atletico Tango is 5th, one above me, 1 spot, and I beat them 2-0. And also Londinium, 2 below me, I beat them 1-0. So kind of those more like the better teams, the ones people expected to be in this group of 6, the top 6. That have all like beaten them. That is very encouraging. Reality check against Biscione Milano yesterday, 4-0.
I saw that. It's a tough one.
But he has really crazy attack. Like, it's super hard to kind of find some remedy against that.
Yeah.
So my 2 losses. So I've almost played everyone once. So the 2 losses, or I've more losses, but I lost against like Meta and Bistione, who are very good, and a draw against Ballers. So that shows I'm really competitive. There were a couple of unlucky like losses, but I think it's really going really well. Yeah, 14 points. So direct relegation spot is 5 points away. Playoffs is 3 points away. I like to keep those gaps there. But yeah, like that I can beat those teams, and also at 5-0 against Parky Beerpuer in the cup. That shows a lot of good signs.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I don't know if I should reveal tactics, but I've just be consistent. Like we always say, be consistent. After that Basel loss 3-0, I changed it, and I've used the same tactic ever since. And it seems even more competitive against the higher teams than the lower ones, for some reason. But it works, and I'm doing pretty well with it.
Well, if midpoint during this season, or near enough midpoint, 1 or 2 games away from midpoint of the season, if I had said to you, 10 games in, you'll be 6th in the table, 5 points off relegation, 3 points off relegation playoff, you would have definitely taken that, wouldn't you?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Well, 100% after I got the club, and then after the transfer window with those good guys coming in.
And
also,
the first game of the season
still
on stream, and you were no, this is just, please don't start Rocky. But
you
definitely
I think
recovered well to 6th.
I kept saying to everyone, like, I just don't want to relegate. I think that is just making sure, like, no one thought they would stay up. Everyone thought this is one of the clubs that's gonna relegate, and then if I can keep them in Diamond, that I think is for me.
Yeah.
Then I achieve my goal.
Nice.
And also another nice thing is that there's quite some progression happening. So I had 3 players go up by 2. My 2 main strikers, Stefani and Ba. Ba has now 99 shooting, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw. That's nuts. That is nuts.
This is very nuts. Although he's not like he is in the top scorers list, but on 4th spot with 7 goals. Same as Rory, by the way. And Heredia, who was a 93, went up by 2 overall to like a 95. He's now one of the 3, I think, or 4 best players in the whole game.
Wow.
So I'm also a bit lucky with that, with the progression side. That most of my like starting 11 have gained 1 or 2, so that is really, really good. So overall, really no. I think if this was FM, the board would say like secure job status.
Yeah, you're hitting expectations.
The hankies are still in, I think.
The hankies are in, yeah.
The hankies are in. Yeah, so it's good. And like tomorrow, the final game, and then how do you say that? Like we've played everyone once. Like the second round.
You've played everyone once.
Yeah, that's against
second half of season. Then you can almost say.
Yeah, second half's gonna start, but in KSO shows who are 11th, so that's really I would say a 6 points game. Kind of need to win that, and then I'm firmly out of that zone after playing everyone once. So would be nice.
As long as you don't lose to those bottom 3, you'll be all right. That's the main thing. Don't lose.
Yes,
to the bottom 3.
Exactly. But very curious about the rest and this relegation battle heating up. By next week, we know.
Yeah.
There's going to be very decisive games, very tense games. First relegations, how will people react to that?
Next week, we'll have to do the whole, here's how many games are left. Like, here's their running, who we're going to predict to go down, that sort of thing. You see their schedule, their fixtures, who they're playing against, and you could almost say, right, you probably actually do a calculation as to who's got the hardest final group of games. And it's going to be exciting, though. We've not got to the end of the season with promotion relegation yet.
Yes.
So this time next week, when we're getting closer to it, it's going to feel good.
It will be really fun, and also those playoffs. So we're going to have like a Platinum Diamonds playoff eventually, and those kind of games.
That'll be great.
Like in England with the Championship Premier League, they say there's 100 million game, right?
So it's like one of the most not the most expensive, but like one of the best, most rewarding in terms of monetary
games,
because of the game. It's like 120 mil or something. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yes.
So to be continued.
Yeah, talk about Money Calvert, the old marketplace, mate.
Exactly.
How's it been?
Again, I think I've not been totally like thorough with this, but there's so many new users.
We'll let you off.
Amazing to see that there's especially so rare related, like tons of guys. There's because of Quinny and some other big names. I'll shout out one later.
Yeah,
That there's I think so much traction there.
definitely.
So Stefan Brockelman, MFL Connor, Kizzle Kick 7, McBride Ace, Noel McGrumface, Donaldo King Air, the Swan Queen Pro Scout Metaler Gaza 2186, SD Perez, FC Cheat Codes, Hussein, Shed Rules, Diogo Rabocho, Mark Patrick Rare, Quidu Desert Kahuna, Air Capital Bombastic. So tons of players. Also a lot of Scottish, and I think my new user would be McBride Ace. This big so rare. He's also Celtic with Quinny, so maybe there's a Quinny connection there. And he's been pretty vocal on Twitter about MFL, and he already got his second club, I saw.
Yeah, he paid for his Dublin club, yeah.
Yeah, so he has a Dublin, so that's really nice to see.
Yeah, there's a lot of new So Rare users have been coming across. I spoke about this in the MFL Ramble podcast, and we sort of highlighted it a little bit. I think it's, I play So Rare a bit, but nowhere near as much as some of these other bigger So Rare people like Quinny, McBride Ace, SR Monkey, those sort of people. But there is a bit of a disgruntlement within the So Rare community at the moment regarding like how they're sort of not operating, but
rewards, I think,
rewards and things like that. How it's just like it seems like the simple things they can't get right, and it almost seems like, well, actually, there's MFL with a minimum, like, theory, what, $65-$70 floor price for clubs. If you've got $100 or so, then to have fun, and you want to play something for fun with the potential to earn some rewards from it. And it seems like quite a nice transition over. So that's what I think we're seeing at the moment, which is really, really great to see, especially from a So Rare point of view. Loads of people coming over, which is super, super cool.
Yes, no, really, really good. And I think this will also generate a more network effect, way more content, more tweets. So it's gonna grow like that. Some stories. So about common, uncommon, I saw Trading Places. He's really honoring his name because he's paying quite a bit for young talent higher uncommons. Some people are using like this question mark emoji or like, what is he doing? But there must be a strategy behind it then, apparently. Well, yeah, we've seen now young talents growing. Like if they are gaining +2, are you going to pay quite a bit because there's apparent potential there? That's like some questions now. So some people are really going full for that. Another interesting thing is that I saw Imuan taking over an agency. Before he was like posting, I'm gonna sell everything to finance my wedding, and now he seems to be buying a lot. So I guess he got married, and now he got and now he can go back to. I don't know, but he's back. He keeps buying a lot. So. He's back, so that's good. Rare players, Noe Sar got a nice, I would say, bargain. 83 rated centre back, 20-year-old for 180 USD. That's a pretty good bargain.
Yeah.
Legendary players, none this week. So I thought let's do two little club stories. First about players buying clubs from their area where they're from. So Crazy Cold got Auxerre Ice for 115. So of course, pretty pricey, but I think he's an Auxerre fan. So that's great to see. Also, Rupske, Dutch user, I've been talking to a little bit. He got Rotterdam Ice, 69 USD. Yeah. So it's always fun to see people getting their local clubs.
Yeah.
And then what I really thought was interesting is a user called DR. And he bought a bronze and a silver club from Cameroon and Algeria for about 120 USD, but like each. But he only has one rare and one uncommon in his whole agency. So what is he gonna do? Does he hope to like sell it for like a bit more money? Is there trading?
Are they registered clubs right now, or are they ones that would have been relegated?
Good question. I need to check it, but yeah, if they bought them now, I think I checked in his account. There's still the bronze and silver, so I think they have been registered.
Yeah.
But then still, like next season, if they stay up with the current roster, is he gonna do like a fantasy gaffer and go nuts and try to get the players in?
Yeah.
Will he buy more? Because otherwise, he has a big problem.
Yeah.
So curious to follow that story.
I've got a little bit of expansion on the Crazy Colt story, by the way, for the Auxerre club, because it was someone from the So Rare Ramble Discord who unpacked the Auxerre Club, and they were basically saying like it was Hatton who atted myself, Smoggy, and Hoodwink and said, "Need your opinion quickly, guys. Someone's packed this. This French guy's asking for it. What's a good price to basically sell it to him for? Because it's a 1-for-1. It's the only location. It's the only Auxerre club that's out there.
Oh, wow.
So we basically said, try like 115. That's the price of the club pack plus maybe like an uncommon player pack on top. And I said, chances are, if he really wants it, he'll just pay for that. But you can always come down to like 100 or so, because I think that's what some of the other people had done. It's quite, if someone really wants it, they don't mind paying a couple, $20 over it. And then it sold for 115. So I think he was happy with that in the end, that chap. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is always tricky. Like, are you going to reach out and go for it directly? Are you going to wait to get it listed? Should you reveal you are a big fan? Then people are going to ask a premium. Like now, if you pick Norwich, but you already said for Norwich, I'm going to pay a premium anyway. Should you try to hide it? Like
I've spoken, it's Effigy who's got the Norwich club.
Effigy.
And I spoke to him before the season started and said, I want the Norwich club for next season. I said, I've not got enough time to sort it all out now, because it's only about 12 hours before the season kicked off. I said, I just threw up and said, I can pay minimum pack price. That's like ideally I want to pay pack price for it. But I said, because, it means a lot to me, it may not mean much to him or whatever. But I said, if you get promoted with it, I don't mind swapping my Stone Club for it. So, but the other Norwich user, So Rare Canary, he wants it, and I know he's wanted it for a long time, and he always wants Norwich Club. So I think basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to either going to do a long loop and end up in his account, or I'm going to put him in touch with Effigy and said, my friend really wants it, I'll let you two sort something out. But I think Effigy, as long as he gets a club like a Stone or an Ice in return, he's happy to offload.
He's happy,
so
no bidding war.
No bidding war. No.
Going on there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's nice you sorted out like that.
Exactly.
All right, splash time.
Splash of the week. Mirko Wilhelm, a German CDM, an old veteran of MFL at the age of 27, being purchased by Duff, Mr. Apollo Sports Group Agency himself, from B-sellers for 250 smackaroos, quarter of a bag. An old veteran, age 27, 84 rated. Forgot to leave that bit. He's 84 rated CDM, 89 defending, 81 dribbling, 85 physical, 77 passing, 62 pace, and if you really, really care about it, he's got 55 shooting. So, we've not had a major market splashes this week, but it's nice to see that we're still getting some, an 84 rated player going for 250, although, he is slightly on the grey hair side of the age range for MFL.
And he has a very good moustache. Right?
He's a very good moustache.
I like his Wilhelm. I like his look. But it's interesting. It's like almost a legendary. 84 and 250. Pretty cheap.
Well, I quickly saw his secondary position was a centre back, so I've quickly popped into play MFL or play MFL. Wow, wrong website completely. Jimbo. MFL player.info as an 85 rated centre back. So there you go, technically legendary player. So
yeah, I would definitely play him there with that passing and that dribbling.
Really that passing at centre back is really
ball
really
playing
nice.
Defender. Indeed. Yeah. Then IRL MFL. I see you wrote down the obvious, the elephant in the room.
Elephant in the room, yeah.
Elephant in the room.
I was surprised by this result because Man City at home are usually pretty decent, and to be fair, at home they do alright against Tottenham. It's away they're pretty naff against Tottenham, but I didn't expect them to lose this 4-0. Even more so the fact that Pep Guardiola midweek had a contract extension, so I thought that would have motivated the players a bit more. And maybe in the back of their mind, it'd always been, Pep's leaving into the season. Maybe it had a bit of a psychological effect on the players and why they're having bad results. 4-0. Fucking 4-0. When you got Timo Werner burning past Kyle Walker and all this sort of stuff, and James Maddison, Kulevetsky, these players really, really played really, really well. Great game to watch. But I think it just goes to show that you can have near enough of the best players in the league sometimes, but you still can lose 5 in a row in all competitions, or 4 in a row in the league, or however many it is. So not to worry, they'll probably still come second in the league. You know, Liverpool are 8 points clear at the moment. I think 8 points clear. I think is after they beat Southampton. Today. Yeah, 3-2. But I also just find it even more funny that Man City can still go on this really bad run, and Arsenal still won't win the league because they're still bad. But yeah, Man City losing 5 in a row in all competitions. I don't think that would have been on my my bingo card for this year, for this season.
No. Well, I enjoy it. It's nice, I think.
I've got a slight Man City bias, so I sort of want them. I like to see them lose. I want to see them beat teams like Man U, Liverpool, Arsenal. I don't really care how they get, and also because I captain Haaland at FPL, so he's fucking shit. So
everyone says, "Stay humble, huh? Stay humble."
Oh yeah, the old humble one, yeah, good.
It blows up right in his face.
Yeah, I love that though. He can take it though, can't he? He gives a lot because they usually win and he does well, but sometimes you obviously got to take it as well. Yeah. I think he was alright taking it.
But good MFL lesson there, like even City, even if you're the best team pretty much in the world, right? You can lose 5 in a row. Yeah. Can happen.
Yeah.
And you have like the best coach. That's football. These things, that's how it goes. Okay, and a little MFL related, not about the result, super tiny story, but I thought it was fun and I can relate to MFL, is that RKC Waalwijk, RKC Waalwijk, I don't know, I would say in English, but they play in the Dutch league. And what was interesting is that they have their first goalie and their second goalie are injured. So then their third goalie played, and they put the goalkeeping coach as fourth goalie. It's like 14.
Can you do that? Can you put a staff member on the bench?
I think they just signed him as like a free agent, and they registered, and then they put him there as a second goalie, like he's in his 40s. But I thought it was just funny. And then with MFL, if there's injuries, right, do you need 3 goalies or 4 goalies? Yeah. And then if there's stuff, can you sign your goalkeeping coach as some fourth goalie? Or how will it work? But I just thought it was fun. And then, unfortunately, he didn't play. That third goalie played the whole match. Yeah. So, but yeah, when there are injuries in MFL, this will be a decision. How many goalies are you going to put in your team?
You probably need 3, and the third one's just hope that he never gets used and he's not that good. You know,
yes.
Someone in our way would say he's an older player. You can just sort of tank it a bit.
I do have some third goalies now, but that's just like 50 comments, and I had no MFL to put them in development center, so I just threw them in all my teams, like all those goalies I left over, to still gain the training XP.
Yeah,
at 50%.
Exactly.
So development 60% or 50%, so they only lose out on 10%. So that's still good to do. All right, let's talk about our main topic, the mid-season transfer window. You might say, oh, that's just like a tiny little thing. But I think we can talk at least half an hour about it because it's changed a little bit with player progression, with promotion relegation, with new players who joined just when season 1 started and they had to quickly get a squad together. And what will we do? Will we make some changes, big moves? So, first of all, how does it work? Jimbo, how does this work, this window?
The mid-season transfer window opens on Wednesday the 27th, the day of the pack drop as well, so you can't really forget the date, because you can open a pack and then sign them straight away, basically. And then on Saturday the 30th, the transfer window closes. So it's probably 3 full days spanning across 4 days, depending on when it opens and it ends. You can sign some new players during that time. However, you can only sign 3 new players. So none of this straight swapping 25 players for 25 players or however many players for however many. You can cancel as many contracts as you like. You just can't sign more than 3 players into your club, which makes it interesting, and you have to make decisions then. Do you try and get someone from the pack drop and do it early, or wait for, buy something off Marketplace? Do you get deals done early, or do you get it done later on in the season? And I think maybe, we can discuss what our strategies are, but there's a lot more to it this season because of, like you said, Calvo, progression. But in a nutshell, so to start this off, 27th till the 30th, transfer window's open, and you can make 3 signings to your club.
I guess that's the most important thing. Only 3.
Yeah.
So like a regular football, like now the winter transfer window is approaching. Technically, if you are a team, you can replace everyone if you want.
Could do,
But
yeah.
you could do that, but it's just in MFL only 3 players. You can console as many contracts as you want, but that also makes no sense. You just maybe do 3 to free up places for 3 others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you think player progression is gonna change things?
Player progression makes it interesting because now a player which you would have had at the beginning of the season who may have been a bit, bang average for your league can now be really, really good or stronger. And someone who you thought maybe might progress quite well initially before progression started might not be doing so well now. So it may have, before the season started, or when the transfer window last closed, you might have gone, actually, I need to bring someone in now because the rest of my league is quite strong. But now you might be saying to yourself, well, actually, my team is quite strong because of progression now. So I maybe don't have to go out and get some players. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think. Well, I have one example from my the best one of my best guys. Like in terms of progression, he got +3. Polish guy Krzysztof Malec, he's like 71 CDM. Because he's Polish, I put him in my Poznan team, the Ice Club. There he was then the best player. But for Ice, he was already a little bit too good, right? 71. And then suddenly he started progressing like crazy. And now he's 74 and he's like hammering on the door of being a rare player in this tier jail, as we call it right now.
Yeah.
So I think I really need to move him. He really needs to move right now. He's just getting too good. Okay, he's Polish, but he's just too good. So I think I need to move him, swap him. So with another team, he's a CDM, another team that plays CDM, like my team that has a CDM. I think I'm gonna do some CDM changes to make sure he gets full match and training XP, because now he's lacking, like he's losing in both things. There's like a talent gap.
Yeah, I hadn't really looked at that way. It's a really good point that I've focused much of the transfer window on incoming players, whereas you've looked at the other side and gone, well, actually, some of my players have progressed a lot. I need to send them out somewhere else for half a season because they're developing too quickly for my own club. Yeah. And I've got, I think it's 4 players now who are sat at 74 rated. And as long as they stay there, I'm happy with them being in my iron side. But the second they jump up, I feel like, should I offload them? However, on the flip side to that, will the benefit you potentially see from half a season outweigh, is he a key player for you, but you just want to focus on progression sort of thing? But it works both ways, doesn't it? And I guess our next point is about promotion and relegation and how that influences things, because your player you were mentioning then, do you care if you send them to a league above for the transfer window? Do you really, or division above? Sorry, do you care which sort of team he goes into? Would you rather him be in a mid to upper table side, or are you concerned about where he could be? Or do you just want him to be in a division above for progression?
I just want him to be a starter, and within the good talent gap range that he's not losing out. So I think my bronze team I think he's gonna go to my bronze team and be a starter there.
Oh, okay, so you control it anyway, so that's quite nice.
So I also control it, but otherwise I also would have want the same conditions. I would make sure he's a starter, and without there's no talent gap. So I think, but yeah, if we're moving to the next question about how does it change promotion or relegation, I want this Ice Club to be promoted. So then, is it smart to move their best player? But I think with still like 3 points less, with a 70 CDM, 69 CDM, we're also going to get promoted probably, because we're already pretty stacked. So in that perspective of promotion, I can also get rid of him. So then I can I'm okay with making that team a bit worse. I want him to progress faster, so I'm going to move him to bronze. Yeah. So I think it ties both a bit into each other, right? Like your priorities, promotion, relegation, play progression. What do you want?
I want to know your thoughts on this from a really quick initial question. Which clubs do you think will be looking to strengthen their squads more, or do you think it would balance? Do you think it'll be those who are in the top 3 of a league or those in the bottom 3 of a league to try and stay in? Which do you think? I think relegation. I think they'll be the
I would
ones
also
who
say
the fear of relegation is far more or is far worse than the greed of trying to get promoted. I think is probably the way I'd look at it.
I would say relegation. Yeah, I think that is. I think those teams might look for reinforcements, get a couple 3 better guys in to try to save the day. But it also looks a little bit like how you're viewing them. How are you using your team? Some people just use their teams as some kind of de facto development center.
Yeah.
And they just throw in guys there to just play.
Yeah.
And whether they end 11th in iron or then 3rd in stone, and they are yo-yoing between those divisions, I don't think that matters so much. But if you're let's say you're a new user with only one team right now in stone, and you're about to go to ice, and then making the jump back from ice to stone, that's pretty hard. So I think it depends a bit on your situation. But definitely, I think the relegation teams are looking more for reinforcements.
Definitely. And you've also got to consider things like the length of contract as well now, because you could sign someone for 2 to 3 years, not on the basis that you've agreed with that with that agent who owns the player that, he's going to be in here and we're going to get promoted. And suddenly you don't get promoted. You could have an angry agent then who wants his player to be in ice, but you've managed, or wants his player to be in stone like you promised him to, and you've not managed to get promoted, and now he gets a bit angry, and he wants his player back, but then obviously you don't have to abide by a cancellation. So it could be interesting, a bit juicy like that.
No, and the same with progression. So I mentioned my guy that went up +3. What if he's playing for a team of someone else and you're like, he needs to move, I want him back. And he's like, no, I need him to do well in this league. I'm not giving him back. So this might create some tension. And from other people I've heard, they loaned out guys thinking they would play and they're not playing. So I think they also might, in the transfer window, try to lobby, can I get my guy back?
Yeah.
And I want to sign him to one of the new users who will use him as a starter.
Yeah.
Those kind of dynamics are happening.
Yeah, I've got a player who I'm going to be loaning out to one of the So Rare Ramble guys for the rest of the season. I think I literally said it on 0%. I just want him to get game time somewhere. Because I realised with my Espar Tails, I have a 65 rated left mid who I signed him there to get everyone who I want not to be touched by other managers quickly. Just put him in my club, sign them, and then I'll, cancel their contracts. But I thought I was going to be using him, but I didn't because I opened a single player pack and got a left mid as a reserve player. So this guy's had 0 playing time. He's gone up by 1 stat though, but he's had 0 game time. So I'm like, let's get him out for the season. So he's a 65 rated left mid. He's got 89 dribbling, which is pretty nuts. But I literally popped it in there, and they were like, "Yes, please, I want that player." And I was like, "Okay, yes, you can have it. I don't really care. I just want to get game time." But yeah, I think with the contract situation, that we'll see more managers not accepting cancellations because there's more on the line now. Whereas previous seasons, you wouldn't lose out on progression because there was no progression and rewards were far less. So there's less to think about. Whereas now, if you've signed a contract, people will be like, no, you've made a contract. You must abide by this contract. Mm-hmm. You have to see it out. So, but then it all stems down to, like we say quite often on here, it's about your relationship with other managers. And communication is key. Communication is key with other managers to try and sort those things out.
Yes. Yeah. And we might need to make another MFL etiquette episode about changing rules and changing etiquette. But I think you mentioned a nice point that we can go to the next question I wrote down about new players, what your new players do. And I think what you said about networking and working with other agents, and can you work with this guy in the future, trust him.
Yeah.
So there's loads of new users who joined in the past 2 weeks, who have new clubs, who need good guys. So I guess for them, the best thing to do is just reach out to people like you and me, or to like Big Wilbert was like a shout out. Someone who's my mentor, MFL mentor,
Yeah.
like just to reach out to people and ask them questions, and then actually, do you have some guys left? And there's like a lot of goodwill. I'm like, oh sure, here, have this dude for 0% like you.
I would say a really good way of being able to do that is going onto the leaderboard and sorting the managers out by their player count and finding people who have stupid amounts of players, scrolling down and trying to find some free agents. And I'd also recommend doing that after the pack drop, because there's going to be quite a few there'll be a lot of new, well, I don't know how many exactly. We could calculate it if we did the math, but not right here, right now. There'll be a number of free agents coming on the market Wednesday night, Thursday morning, because they're being opened in packs. So that's a really good opportunity to then constantly look at a scouting page then.
Yeah, exactly. And those, it will be very hard.
Too.
So we'll have a pack drop. There's a new supply, but then the demand is like changing. Is like a bit less, I would say. So
what for packs or for players? Do you mean?
No, I mean there's going to be quite a big supply of new players, and then people like me, like then I get maybe an uncommon extra, and I really want him to play. But I already have all my teams set pretty much, so I can maybe swap one guy in and out. But then I want to put this guy on some team, and there's gonna be way more people in the situation. So I think there will be bigger supply and a bit less demand. So those new users, those new players, I think can also bargain a little bit. Just say, just 1 or 2% or 0%, and just can you help me? And then. In the pack drop, I got this guy. I actually don't like some random common in a standard pack.
Yeah.
Just have him. So I think there will be a lot of generosity based on that. So just reach out to people.
I think there will be as well, especially down towards those sort of like low on commons to high common players, which, a lot of the newer users who got the ice club, because that's for the promotion or promotion for the promotion they did. Or just because that's the club, that's the division in the club pack, right? They'll be going for those players, and for a lot of people who may have higher division clubs, like yourself with a few others, even myself in Iron, if I have a higher common, and I've got my teams already set and I'm happy and content with those, I just want those players out getting game time. So I'm not really too fussed on revenue share. So that's when people like so they can have the generosity. And I think that's what's also great about the NFL community as well, that people are just sometimes happy just to almost give away players on like 0% for a while, because they may not need those players, but they might want them for a few seasons' time. So I'd say
I see this definitely happening, and it's much better for a player to play at 0% than don't play at all.
Yeah,
and also if you don't have the MFL, it's still long way to getting paid. So if you also spent all your MFL, you have no money for the development center, so you need to give this guy kind of away to some team, or you put him on your own team for 0% and only getting the training. So the best scenario is passing them on to a new manager for the rest of the season. So that's will be interesting dynamic to see how this plays out.
Yeah, because especially for some people who may have not been able to have built their squads properly because they had to quickly rush the teams together.
Yes,
they'll be greatly welcoming this transfer window, but at the same time, we have to be tactical as to where they pick their players. So, a quick question for you, Calver: if you had to play, you could pick any formation you want. Are there, and say all your players are the same, they're all equal, they're all 74 rated, and which 3 positions would you upgrade if all the players are the same? But what are some key positions for you which you look to upgrade?
Striker, of course.
Yeah, striker.
That is obvious. CDM.
Yeah.
I think. Well, it could be. I guess I had the central ones, right? Center back, CM, CDM, striker.
Yeah, that spine of
that spine. Yeah, I think you need to have. It depends a little bit on the formation, but I think that always works almost for all formations to have a bit defensive security, having that finisher for the goals, and someone very good midfields for the passing and running the show. So
Yeah.
I think that's what I would do.
And for me, as much as I've slandered off goalkeepers on the podcast and in the Discord over the last couple of days and how bad they are, having a good goalkeeper, I think, makes a huge difference sometimes. There's a couple of moments in like a 1v1 or a cross comes in and your keeper saves it, and I'm always in the back of my head going, would he have saved it if he was a couple of overalls lower? There's something about having a good goalkeeper, like in real life, it gives the defence a bit of confidence if they got a good keeper in between the sticks. Obviously, that doesn't happen in
The
MFL
goalie
because
is
you don't get like confidence from a good goalkeeper. Maybe that is a thing for the future, and morale and all that sort of piece. But I think strikers and goalkeepers, top and tail, and then a position that maybe is also worth thinking about. Is it a player you're going to captain as well? Because you can get the bonus on top of there. Or, lots of things to consider. There's lots of ways of going about it. But the crucial point is only 3 players signed. And also, I do believe that also includes if you sign a player, counts as contract, that is still a place taken up. So be mindful that you can't just sign a player, cancel his contract, and then still have your 3 left over. That's a signing still.
Yes. And it's also interesting. People are about the supply, right? Maybe people get better guys, but they're gonna cancel other contracts, or maybe get rid. I know some people have like a pretty big squad because of cup. Maybe they got knocked out of the cup pretty much. Like right now today, we played 5 matches. Maybe this will trigger them to release some guys so they can get playing time somewhere else with like a bit less rotation.
Yeah.
So I really think we're going to see a bigger supply. More people can get some guys, and that's how it will play out. So, what is your Espartil's Wensum plan?
I'm see, I've got to watch what I say here, because if I start saying I want to improve this side of my squad because it's weak, and then you end up we're playing each other in a couple of hours' time when you hear this, I'm like, I go, if one side of my team is really weak, and then Cava suddenly goes, focus down the right flank, and everything gets demolished, then I'm a bit awkward. But
well, I think I can kind of see that also from your results or the way you play, right? But,
yeah. I think.
But like, do you think you need to strengthen it? Would you strengthen? And I think then your policy you set is like no rare players. You think it's too good already. So would you even bring in?
Yeah, well, I've technically got a rare player out of position. He becomes a 75 centre back, but he's rated 70. He was 69 when the season started, but he gets +5 out of position, which is quite nice, really nice actually. I don't think I'll be using all 3. I think I'm quite happy with how my team is set up. Maybe 1, 2 maximum. But I'll be only doing it for players. I'll be cancelling players' contracts that are my own players, not ones that I currently have loaned in. The ones I loaned in, I wanted them to all be starters, and they played really well, so they will remain starters. The one contention, the one dilemma I've got is I've got 4 really good strikers, and I have my favourite 2, Honoria and Perez. And my other 2, Rutterman and Trinidad, are equally as good. But Trinidad is 17 years old and he's my bench player. Now, going back to what you discussed earlier on this topic, I'm in a position where, do I loan him out for half a season because he's young? I want him to get as much development as possible. But he's a really good player for me, but he will never be a starter right now because he's got the players in front of him are too good. I don't want to hinder his development, but I'm also thinking, as a rotation player, he's still really, really strong. He's a great player to have in there. So I'm more of the boat right now is I've got to think about who I need to send elsewhere, not who I'm looking to bring in. Right now, I'm okay with how bring in. Because fortunately, before the season starts, the main transfer window, I try and look for the whole season. I never really go, I want to bring someone in who's half good and then bring someone in better in mid-season. I try and get it all done before.
Yeah, I think most people, me too.
That's so.
But you could, like, you are in a promotion spot, right? You could maybe get some quality to push your luck a little bit. Like,
I think one thing we've not even spoken about. One thing we've not even spoken about is, and that's a really good point, is that in previous seasons I will look at what the rest of the league does as well. If the teams around me start getting in big players, I will no doubt match that as well. If I see Meat Eaters and Trust the Process and Duff and all these people bringing in top strikers, guarantee you now, if I can, I will try and match them and do the same.
Okay, interesting.
Because I'm like, right, if you're bolstering your squad, F it, I'm doing the same as well. So, because I think we're overperforming. We're overperforming loads compared to our strength.
So there's a dynamic we've not discussed, like some kind of arms race.
Yeah,
I feel a good hashtag, by the way. So it's like people, yeah. What if your direct rivals are suddenly stacking, like putting 3 super good guys in there?
I did that a lot in the breakaway. I looked at the teams around me and was going, oh my god, he's bringing in 378 rated players for my breakaway league. I went, I'm done for. I managed to win the league on goal difference, but not quite the same as this situation here. But
interesting.
Everyone to consider, if the rest of your league isn't improving, and you're doing well already, maybe that puts less pressure on yourself, right? But if everyone else starts doing well, you're like, oh, fucking hell, crap, I've got to do something. Especially if you're in a relegation fight. That's really scary then.
Really curious to see what's going to... Yeah, also for me, I think Magos, I'm not going to... Because of the ref share, right? Maybe other people have the same problem. I'm already very high.
I was going to say, that must be hard to do in Diamond, the mid-season transfer window.
Yeah, definitely the supply of legendaries. I don't think the supply of legendaries is going to change so much. I think everyone is trying to do their best. I don't think there's going to be a lot of movement in the market. Plus, for me personally, I'm already 82% ref share. It's going to get a bit lower when clauses get, like, kind of, how you say that, like... released or completed or fulfilled, but for me it's okay, like my squad, and plus I don't think that supply is going to grow, and the rest of my teams depends a bit. I probably buy maybe 1 or 2 packs depending on what I'm going to move things around, and then that progression, as I said, the mileage, the +3 is too good for ice. I'm gonna some high progressing players, I'm gonna move them up to create better circumstances for them. So I guess that's the moves I'm trying to make. And then, all the bonus players that I will maybe get from packs, I'm just going to loan out to whoever wants them for any percentage. They just should play, whatever.
There you go. There's a little shout out there, a little one. When Calvin and I open up our packs on the stream and things like that, or whenever we do those packs, when we open our pack, let me start that again. So a little one, everyone. When Calvin and I open our packs on stream, if they're not ready for us to play in our squads, we just want them to get out there and have game time. So get in contact with us if we have any spare players. Like I said, I'm loading out one of mine for 0%, unless he's a rare or some sort of like I somehow get really lucky and get a legendary in a whatever pack.
Could be.
Then different story, right? But if he's a 65 to 68 rated player and doesn't fit into any of my teams, I will just want him getting game time, which I think most people will as well. But I think what I've learned through this conversation is that the dynamic for what I thought transfer window would be about bringing in players has actually been reversed by player development and player progression, that we're now actually thinking to ourselves more so, where do my players that are really too good for my team, where are they going for half a season, rather than I need to bring in some really good players. I think that's an interesting...
Yeah, no, they really... Progression, promotion, relegation, all those things really changed. There is much more going on than people think that's going to happen. I think it's really going to change the dynamics
100%.
a lot. So cool to keep a check on that.
And even if you're just one final thing, I think if you're middle of the table as well, you're slap bang middle of the table where you've not really got a chance of being promoted, you might be able to stretch into it. I know we're not even halfway through the season yet, but you're not looking like you're going to go down, maybe because, 2 teams are inactive, so a couple of those slots are being filled. And if you're middle of the table and you're not really in risk going up or down, but you've got players progressing really well, that could be quite a nice opportunity, as long as you don't hinder your own strength and performance and damage it to loan out players to get better progression to maybe in their next season, if they can gain maybe like an overall or some stats attributes that benefit you, you can bring them back and go again next season. There could be something on those lines as well.
Yeah, and then it depends on the results. Yeah, so
yeah,
let's see. Well, I think we've covered everything. I'm curious what people think, if this is going to spark some debate that everyone's has not considered yet.
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes.
I think a lot of new users will be looking forward to this transfer window. I think also as well, because of the pack drop. There's a hype around pack drop.
Yeah.
We've had quite a lot of new players over the last 2 weeks and they would not have experienced a pack drop. That's a lot of fun. They may have experienced the packs opening of the starter packs and the club packs, but it's a different sort of environment is a pack drop. And, you know, are you a hashtag team refresh? Are you a hashtag team wait? There's all of this. I can't wait to be streaming again on it. It's going to be good. It's always good fun.
Team cable.
Team cable.
Or team mobile internet.
Yeah. When you open your packs, you hashtag poo pack. Like, where do you open your packs? Do you do it with, with your partner? Do you do it, by yourself? Do you do it laying in bed? And there's all these different conspiracies about where's the best place to open a pack. I think, without a doubt, hashtag poo pack for getting 93 rated Jeremy Clare, who is now a 94 rated player, by the way. We didn't even mention that. We've seen our first 95 rated players in MFL.
Yes,
which I believe
and what I said about Ba and like the max stats, like the 99, like maxing, like there's like max passing, max shooting. I think
does he hit 100?
Max physical,
or does it just sit 99?
No, I think 99 is really the max. It's max. So
why does that feel a bit odd that like not even half a season he's got 99? Why does that feel a bit too much too soon? Do you know what I'm trying to say? It seems half a season.
Well, he is 20. He is 28, so I think that explains it. Like he's already prime age, maybe.
Oh, okay, yeah. It could be 29's his prime age, and he's already. He does nothing for the next. Well,
could be, big chance.
He could have 10 years longevity, and you've got 99 shooting for another. What would it be? 14 seasons. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Right, ladies and gentlemen. To prove that you've been listening this far into this mid-season transfer window debate, the hashtag to spread on Twitter, on Discord, is hashtag arms race. Because of, bringing all these players in, are you going to look at what the competition's doing to bring in those players? How are you going to strategize for this mid-season transfer window? Could it be a bit like a hashtag arms race? Let us know in Discord, in Twitter, now known as X. A quick one before we do wrap up. Monday the 25th, if you're listening to us on day of release, if you're free or you've got some time, we'll be streaming the WenDirkB. So if you've got free time on Monday, be there or be square. Furthermore, Wednesday the 27th, the day of the pack drop and the day the transfer window opens. As always, 1 hour before the pack drop goes live, Calver and I on the WenDirkCast Twitch channel will be hosting the pack drop party, the fun, entertainment. There'll be rewards, there'll be fun, there'll be exclamation mark raffles. And who doesn't want an opportunity to win some free stuff on stream for doing nothing? Or just answering questions about the game, the beautiful games we all love, the metaverse and the IRL. I think that's all I wanted to cover today. Correct me if I'm wrong, Calver.
That's everything. So hashtag arms race, and let's move the discussion to Discord.
Hashtag arms race, everyone. Thank you all so very much for listening, and we'll see you this time next week for the episode of the WenDirkCast. Thank you for listening.